Hello, I am Joel Bloom at New Jersey Institute of Technology. We pride ourselves on being part of the Newark community and its advancements in technology, the economy, and the growth of the city. That's why we are very proud to partner with the Caucus Educational Corporation to produce Newark at the Crossroads right here on the NJIT campus. We hope you enjoy this special series.
Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, the Fidelco Group, Barnabas Health, Life is Better Healthy, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, TD Bank, Verizon Communications, and by PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. Promotional support provided by NJ Biz, all business, all New Jersey, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. This is One-on-One at NJIT, Newark at a Crossroads. We are honored to have our friend and colleague, Marjorie Perry, President and Chief Executive Officer, MZM Construction and Management, also a board member of our parent, not-for-profit, the Caucus Educational Corporation.
I am.
Born and raised, bred, a Jersey Newark girl, right?
Through and through.
How come? What's that all about?
You know, as well-trained as I've been over the years and been able to go away, live in other parts of the country, you know, your home base is your home base. You know, Newark is what it was. And let's just be clear, back in the 50s and the 60s, this was the place to live. You were close to Manhattan. You know, education was absolutely high. I'm a Barringer High School graduate, as you know. So there was no reason to have to be anywhere else because this is where the growth was happening. Then the riots came, things kind of shifted.
1967, everything
That's right.
changed?
Everything changed in 67. Everything died down a little bit. So now you were seeking outwardly. And then as a result of that, I went and lived in Ohio for a while. I lived in Berkeley, California for a while, but you still came back to center. So I don't know, this was the perfect growth incubator for me. So when I started my business in '92, I said, you know, after living out on the West Coast, I wanted to come back here. I wanted to make a difference because I had so much opportunity, and I came back to Newark, and that's
and you
pretty
are
much
making a
what it
difference.
is.
By the way, you have a connection to this institution. You're on the board of overseers at NJIT, right?
I am the
Graduate
co-chair.
of?
A graduate 2005.
You know, your business, the idea that you are the CEO of your business, and we've talked a lot about business, you know, and you're based here. Tell folks what the business is first, Marjorie, and then also why you're so bullish on the city.
I am in construction, can you imagine?
Hard hat and all?
Hard hat and all. I actually, when I came back and started my business, it really was going to be more of a consultant-based business. One of the things I didn't see were individuals from Newark back in the 80s starting their own business and becoming more entrepreneurial. And that was going to be my original mission and purpose, was to help other businesses get started, show them that they weren't limitations, go for it. Affirmative action was 25 and 17 during that time. I said, listen, here's the time to break in, start your business,
Tell everyone what
create your own
25 and
wealth.
17 meant.
25% affirmative action on any state project you were able to get if you worked, whether it was construction, was IT, whether it was selling wares, 25% for minority, 17% for women. It was a golden time. And met two gentlemen, and they wanted to start a construction company. I didn't have a clue. Started it for them. And then 2 weeks later, they didn't understand that what a financial statement was, so they couldn't figure out how they were going to get paid.
So you're the CEO.
So I became CEO. I bought them out in 1994.
What's it like?
You know, here's the good thing and the bad thing about some of the educational pieces that happened for me. We're not trained to be team leaders and team builders. That's one of the things that I realized as I became an entrepreneur and grew here. And as a result of that, it took a little longer probably than usual as an entrepreneur. So now you know I work on superstructures. I've done projects here at NJIT, Giant and Jet Stadium, Port Authority. We've done Continental when it was Continental Airlines, now United.
Now United, right.
I've done beach replenishment for the Army Corps. That's where we put sand back on the beach. All of that came from one step at a time, and constant education. I couldn't get better education than continue to go to the state schools that were here. So I went back to Kane. I went back to NJIT. I had to continue to build on the limitation that I didn't realize I had until I became a business owner in Newark. Because everything by the end of 1980, if you weren't thinking global, you were starting to slide anyway as a small mom and pop type business.
Fast forward, where's Newark today when it comes to your business?
Right now, we're in a great place. We have 8 projects on tap. We're doing 5 because we're able to talk the language and we're prepared. So 2008, you took out a lot of small businesses here in Newark. That was it. They were done because they weren't able to, recession killed them. It just took them out. And here's the thing that's very interesting is that, and I teach entrepreneurial studies here on campus, is that I tell everybody that innovation changes every 9 months now. So if you're not thinking 10 years out, 5 years out, even 3 years out, you won't make it. I don't care whether you're a minority, woman, local business, Newark, et cetera. That innovative mindset has to continue to be created and taught here somehow so people don't get stuck right here and think, we've made it, and therefore it'll translate into something big. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
But Marge, you know what's interesting to me is you and I are both born and bred in this city.
Yeah.
And connected to it in so many ways. And your business is based here. Our public television sister NJIT, NJTV, based right here as well. We're tied here.
We're tied.
Right? I teach here as well. Full disclosure, I teach at NJIT. But for those who don't have that connection to the city and their perception of Newark is not great, what do you say to them?
You know, Steve, here's what I say. You have to come and try it. Now, we're probably a good 3 to 4 years away where that intersection and the buzz continues to grow.
Is Newark hot?
Newark is hot.
Now?
Newark is hot for development.
Well, what are we
Newark is
3 or
hot
4
for
years
development.
away from?
We're 3 or 4 years away where we have the foot traffic where people can feel like they can just walk anywhere in downtown Newark. That's 3 to 4 years.
Not safe enough?
I think it's safe enough, but you have to be conscious.
Not for me, not for you.
No,
I'm talking about for people who don't know
I think
the
we
city.
need a little bit more connecting the dots on the streets. And when that occurs, we have the foot traffic. You have Whole Foods coming into town. You know, Halsey Street, that's going to be a foot traffic kind of lane. And the more that development continues to happen and move toward Penn Station, then the crime rate will come down. Now, here's a backdrop of that. You still have folks who aren't able to get jobs or at least get menial jobs that's going to pay them well in the neighborhoods. So that crash is always going to walk up on you. Okay, so how they're going to circumvent that, I don't know. The mayor is very proactive on keeping crime down here in the city of Newark. So those are the things that the business owners, safety officers, and strategic people who live here have to come together to kind of police our neighborhoods to make sure people can lose the perception of this is not the place to be.
Real quick, you told our producers we need to become, in Newark, a destination city. What does that mean?
Destination where people stay. Transitional, people get up and they leave. They come to the hotel, they have their meeting from Monday to Tuesday. Thank you, I had dinner downtown, I'm gone. We need them to stay. How do we get a W hotel here? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like a Hoboken or a Jersey City. We don't want them to leave. Honey, listen, I finished work on Thursday. Bring the family in. We're staying. That makes it a destination.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Quick before I let you go. And all the work you've done, all the challenges you have faced, and the successes you've had, number one leadership lesson you have learned so far is?
Build great teams. Without great teams, you can't move forward and you can't see what's coming next. 2, get your emotions out of the way. Make sure that you stay on point for what the mission is and be adaptable. And 3, humility. Those are my leaderships.
I got to remember that emotion thing.
Yeah.
Marjorie Perry is president and CEO, MZM Construction and Management. She's not only an alumnus of NJIT, but also on the board of overseers. She's on the board of the Caucus Educational Corporation, and she is an entrepreneur in the city of Newark. Good to have you.
Thanks so much.
Newark is at a crossroads with some great people around. Stay with us from NJIT. We'll be right back. Thanks, Marge.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to welcome Barbara Heisler, who is Executive Director of GlassRoots, the region's only youth-accessible glass-blowing studio in the tri-state area. How you doing?
I'm doing real well. Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm familiar with GlassRoots because I actually attended one of your events. But tell everyone what GlassRoots is.
Well, most people would think that GlassRoots is a glass art studio, but we're really a youth transformation space. We use the vehicle of glass, hot glass, to transform the lives of youth. They learn math, they learn science, they learn business, they learn entrepreneurship, but more importantly, they learn patience, they learn tenacity, they learn creativity. It's a really extraordinary place.
Now, it's glass blowing.
We actually have 3 shops. We have a flame shop, a flat shop, and a hot shop. So we do flame work, which is where something like this is made, beadwork.
That was made there?
It was.
Okay.
We do flat glass, which is mosaic glass, kiln formed, which is glass that's fired into a shape. And then we have a glass blowing studio. We have a full furnace, 2 hot shops.
And those glasses right there. Hey, Bob Morse, our great director. Hey, Bob, check this out. Barb, talk about this.
So those are glasses that are made in our hot shop. Our hot shop is a 2200 degree molten glass that is made into glasses, vases, paperweights, anything that someone can imagine.
Now, it's interesting. You talk about transforming the lives of young people. How?
So
Someone might say, hey, it's art, it's wonderful, it's great, but that's it. You say, more than that.
it is.
How so?
It is. So you take someone, a hardened kid who really, thinks they know it all, and they come in and they sit in our flame shop and they sit in front of a torch, and you turn it on and there's 2200 degrees in their personal space. You get their attention pretty quickly, and there's a fear. The first time I turned it on, I was very frightened by the sound and the force. And then you realize that you can use that fear to shape something really beautiful. And that's kind of what we do. We use everything we have in the glass to really help create lives with a future. Not only for the young people that we deal with, but now we work with young adults. And we're really helping them forge futures.
Careers?
Careers.
Describe the careers.
So we actually launched a new program last year, we're very proud of, called the Varus Scientific Glass Training Program. And we're training young people to make that very complicated glass that's used in pharma labs and chem labs, the kind of Frankenstein-looking glass that has all the curlicues that can't be made by robots and can't be repaired by robots. And so after 12 weeks, a partnership that we have, by the way, with Essex County College and the Association of Scientific Glassblowers, they can walk out and walk into jobs making $18 to $35 an hour. That's transformative.
That's a career that they may never have even known about, much less been able to go into.
Absolutely.
Was that the plan in the beginning?
No. GlassRoots was a lovely after-school program. And it could have continued as a really wonderful after-school program. The founder's vision was to use glass to teach business and entrepreneurship. So we have a very successful business and entrepreneurship program where our young people, our high school age students, go through a full academic year. And at the end, they've created a business, they've created products, and they actually present it to a jury who judge them, and someone wins, like in real life. And some businesses have started from that. But the idea of creating post-secondary programs, these workforce development programs, is new. We started our first one, as I mentioned, in October. Our next one we'll be launching this October. It's a craft entrepreneurship program. We'll be teaching young women, 18 to 24, to make necklaces like this and other kinds of crafts that they can sell. They'll walk out of our programs with their own torches, with startup kits of glass, and access to our studios. And online businesses and contracts.
Talk about Newark, because this series, Newark at a Crossroads, is talking to business leaders, political leaders, educational leaders, people in the education community. Why Newark?
Why not Newark? I mean, you know, Newark's an amazing place.
An amazing place.
It is. The energy here is very high. Our kids come in, they had lots of challenges. Our kids face challenges that no children should ever have to face sometimes. But they come in eager and ready to experience something new. And that's what they do. And that's, in fact, why, to answer your last question, why we started the post-high programs, our workforce development programs, because we knew that just what we did with high school students wasn't enough, that we needed to work with kids that needed that extra piece, that extra push to get into a career. The support in Newark has been amazing. Our partnership with Essex County College, with Rutgers University, with NJIT, with the other arts organizations, with the corporations here.
Partnerships matter.
They really
Real
matter.
quick, Newark 350 years, 2016. You have an initiative called?
Faces of Newark at 350.
Faces of Newark at 350 is 30 seconds, go.
We're creating a mobile mosaic of faces to show what Newark looks like now. And we'll have the mosaic traveling around. People can send us via email or on our Facebook page a picture of themselves with a little placard saying, Newark at 350, this is why I love Newark. And we're putting together both a virtual and mobile mosaic.
And you weren't born and raised in Newark, were you?
No, but I'm a New Jersey girl.
But you loved the city.
I do.
It's interesting to me, for those of us who are born and raised here, to meet someone who adopts the city and has that feeling. It's a wonderful thing. Appreciate it.
Well, I have to say that my dear friend Clem Price imbued a lot of that love of Newark into me.
I'll probably say this several times throughout the show. We would not be here if it were not for the late Dr. Clem Price from Rutgers University. Clem was the one who I asked, hey, Clem, what do you think if we started the series about Newark? And he said, yeah, why don't you call it Newark at a Crossroads? That's where the name of the series comes from. The great, late, the extraordinary, iconic historian of the city of Newark, Dr. Clem Price. See, I didn't even know he had that impact on you, and he just did that with a lot of people.
Clem is why I started coming into Newark regularly and fell in love with all of the institutions here.
Clem's why a lot of good things happen.
Yeah.
Barbara Heisler, Executive Director of GlassRoots, a terrific organization. Barbara, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Stay right there.
Thank you.
We'll be right back from NJIT right after this.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to be joined by Thomas Krever, Chief Executive Officer of the Hetrick-Martin Institute, and Dr. Ashawnda Fleming, Executive Director of the Institute based in Newark, New Jersey. The Institute is?
The Hetrick-Martin Institute is an institute which was founded about 35 years ago by Drs. Hetrick and Martin in New York City. At the time, they heard the story of a young boy who was brutally beaten and kicked out of his foster care home because he was, quote unquote, too gay. And so they started a one-room drop-in center at that time, which has now grown to the largest institute for programming for LGBTQ youth nationwide.
And the Q stands for?
So the Q means questioning, and it's the realization that sexuality and gender identity is fluid. And so we offer young people a safe space, not just to be, but to come, grow, and thrive.
Let's talk about the issues that face the community we're talking about, the LGBTQ community. Right. What are we talking about?
So when you look both here in Newark as well as nationally, you're looking at disparities, whether it's health, so rates of HIV contraction that are 3 to 6 times larger, mental health challenges, depression, anxiety, trauma.
Worse?
Far worse.
Why?
Far worse. Well, we still, in 2015, when you look at society, we're not there yet in terms of acceptance. And so while we celebrate same-sex marriage, we have to recognize that there's still so much more work to do. So whether it's health, education, employment, the disparities still exist and are pervasive for LGBT youth.
Is there something, Doctor, about Newark and the LGBTQ community? Is there something about this city and the challenges that the young people were talking about and others who fall into this category face in Newark?
Absolutely. I think Newark it's unique, and it's different in a lot of ways than some other areas because you have multiple issues that are compounded. So when you think about issues of poverty, when you think about issues of lack of resources and access to services, I think all of those things compounded exacerbate the problems for LGBTQ youth in the city of Newark specifically.
You know, in preparing for the show, I was looking at some of the statistics, and statistics often belie the reality of the human pain and suffering. Homelessness.
Right.
So you look and you say, okay, so how does that happen? And you say a very high percentage of young people who identify in this way are not accepted and welcomed into the homes of their parents.
That's right. In fact, in 2015, the #1 reason, aside from poverty, for homelessness is LGBTQ status. And we know that roughly 30% of young people who come out this year will be evicted from their homes.
Evicted.
Evicted.
Describe that. Parents saying you are not welcome here? Is that what that means?
That is what that means. And so young people at very early ages, far earlier than they need or should be, are having to make life and death choices on where they're seeking shelter, food, a community. And this is happening all around us.
Violence. Talk about it.
So a lot of our young people, I would say somewhere close to 70% of the young people that we serve here in Newark self-report that they have either been physically or verbally harassed prior to coming into our program. They experience this on a daily basis regardless of where they are. So it's in their neighborhoods, it's at school, it's everywhere. And so what we try to do is to provide a safe space for young people. So you were just talking about homelessness. So when a young person comes to HMI New Jersey, they get a full mental health evaluation and screening to see what their exact needs are. And so if a young person presents as homeless, so we immediately triage them to find housing because we know it's general Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Right. If you don't take care of those basic needs, there's no one's going to self-actualize if you're not dealing with food and shelter.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So we start at the ground floor, and so we link young people to those basic resources. We provide food and clothing for young people every day. We provide them with resources in terms of a place to stay, and so that you start building the safety net. And so once you get a young person who's feeling safe and has a safe space to come, then you can begin working with them on things like higher education, academic enrichment, vocational training. And so we start at the ground floor, but it all boils down to that safety and how secure they feel. And so when you're talking about a place like Newark, which is sometimes unsafe for young people who are LGBTQ, and especially our transgendered youth, you're talking about the only place in their life that they go throughout the course of a day where it's safe and it's free from stigma.
Yeah, it's interesting. You made reference to the transgendered youth. Thomas, is it worse, Thomas, for someone who identifies and says, I am, who's a young boy, born as a young boy, and says, I believe I'm supposed to be a young girl and grow into be a woman, or vice versa? Is it worse, and if so, how?
Well, it's certainly far more challenging. This is not what most communities are ready or sadly willing to
Dare
have
I
a
say
conversation.
religious organizations as well. Listen, we have a lot of religious leaders who are part of this series.
Well, there are many that,
but not a lot of openness, no?
Yeah, I think there's a long way to go for that. And so for young people who, it's hard enough just being a young person in this day and age, and then to have to deal with, as Ashawnda pointed out, whether it's race or economics or all the other challenges, poverty that face our young people, to then have to reassert and affirm every moment who they are to a community that may not be accepting, it's incredibly challenging for them.
Real quick, Newark Public Schools, the relationship?
Fantastic in terms of their willingness to both recognize that there's a challenge and to step in and say we need to do something about it. So they've actually been a wonderful supporter to HMI.
To what degree is your institute actually trying to educate and help others who may not be so understanding and or accepting right now understand what's at stake and what impact their lack of understanding and acceptance is really having.
So we actually have a national center. It's the HMI Center for Advocacy and Capacity Building, and your listeners can see it at hmi.org.
HMI.org, we'll put that up. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. And so trainings everywhere, or everyone from principals and superintendents to moms and dads or community members who simply want to know how to make a difference. And so that capacity building, that training for communities is vital, and we're happy New Jersey is exercising that.
Absolutely.
Doctor, let me ask you before I let you out of here.
Absolutely.
This is all of our responsibility, isn't it?
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. Because I think we're all responsible for the public health of our communities. And so if you think about young people and being stewards of the next generation, I think that it truly takes a village. And for us as adults, I think that we have to reach back and we have to lift as we climb because our future depends on it. So it's all of our responsibility.
By the way, you're located right in one of the high schools.
Yes, and so our partners at the Newark Public School provide us space free of charge at 301 West Kinney Street inside of the Enrollment Center on the second floor.
You're hopeful.
Have to be.
You both answered the same.
There's no
Do
option.
they deserve anything less? I would say, and also in answer to your question, when we were young people, the national coming out age was around 21, 23 years of age.
What's it now?
It's between 13 and 14. And so years
across
of age,
the board here?
Yes. And so young people are making life or death decisions at earlier ages. And when you're 13, you're not thinking about the repercussions like an adult might.
Real quick, before I let you, I got to do this.
Absolutely,
Message to
sure.
parents watching right now, all parents.
Message to all parents is to accept your child, accept your children, be welcoming to them, try to understand the situations that they are in, and be open and willing to explore life challenges with young people because their lives depend on it.
And I think that's wonderful. And I would add to that it's okay, you're not alone. It's perfectly normal to have questions, to be scared. It's not okay to not get help. You and your family deserve that. And so whether it's visiting hmi.org or finding out more, I cannot impress enough that parents do not have to go this alone. It's okay to not have the answers.
That's right.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thomas and Dr. Fleming, you're doing important work, not just for the children of Newark, but everyone in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Truly.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been provided by NJIT, the Fidelco Group, Barnabas Health, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, TD Bank, Verizon Communications, and by PSE&G. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJIT has been produced in cooperation with FiOS One News.
I think at NJIT there are a lot of smart students.
I came to NJIT for mechanical engineering because with in-state, it's one of probably the top 3 schools for engineering.
It sort of creates a friendly competition where you can learn from them.
It's a great academic school.
I feel I'm being challenged, but at the same time, I love the classes I'm taking.
The atmosphere of being here is like being at an upstart company. It's that same kind of drive, that same kind of passion.